Today on Florida Sportsman Best Boat. For those who desire shallow water capability and the ability to run offshore on calm days, we'll be taking a look at the Shearwater X22, a flats boat with an overall length of 21 feet 8 inches, a beam of 8 feet 2 inches, and max horsepower rating of 250. Standout features on the Shearwater X22. Rod lockers keep expensive rods and reels secure and out of the way, while also accommodating multiple outfits for a variety of fishing. Comfortable helm seating allows the captain to either sit or stand while driving the boat, leading to less fatigue at the end of the day. Wide gunnels are essential if an angler needs to fight a fish from one end of the boat to the other with ease. If you're a serious fisherman who wants flexibility to fish almost anywhere, we'll be looking at the Triton 240 LTS Pro, a bay boat with an overall length of 24 feet, a beam of 8 feet 6 inches, and max horsepower rating of 350. Standout features on the Triton 240 LTS Pro. A pad hull gives anglers looking for speed the upper edge, reducing drag, leading to higher performance and less fuel burn. Ample cockpit space provides enough room to comfortably move around the console and interior of the boat without feeling crowded. A rocket launcher is a great place to keep fishing rods at the ready. Right behind the captain, they can be reached when they're needed most. If blue water is calling, but you need to be able to bring the family along in comfort, we'll be taking a look at the Hunt Gamefish 30, a center console with an overall length of 29 feet 9 inches, a beam of 9 feet 9 inches, and max horsepower rating of 600. Standout features of the Hunt Gamefish 30. Bow seating provides a comfortable place for the family to relax while cruising or fishing offshore. An ergonomic console design will provide the cockpit with more room and allows easy access to important items and functions on and inside the console. Mezzanine seating is a must-have for the serious offshore fisherman or diver, providing a place to monitor the fishing lines behind the boat and gear up before jumping in the water. Join our hosts Dave East and Rick Riles as they conduct walkthroughs and review key features, all to help you decide if this is the best boat for you.
Welcome to this episode of Florida Sportsman Best Boat. I'm your host Dave East, along with my co-host Captain Rick Riles.
The 22 is a new addition of a long line of Shearwaters. They've been building bay boats and flats boats. Remember, they used to market them under the Sterling line for a long time, and this one, they just keep tweaking them and making them better. I know you love the fact that it was fast.
It was fast, and you know, with the decks the way they have them laid out, you could use that boat as a flats boat. I mean, it didn't draw very much water. It almost had the utility of a flats boat, but yet it had enough displacement where if you do want to take it into a big open bay where bay boats shine, it can handle that very well. Okay, now the Triton 24. I know that boat impressed you.
That's at the top end of the size range of bay boats, and there's a reason for it to be that size. It uses it well once it breaks the inlet.
Triton's roots, bass boats. Bass boats are fast, bass boats have running pads. What they did is they took that technology and they applied it to a bay boat. This bay boat has a running pad, and when you drive the boat, you can feel her come up on the pad and get loose, and boy, when that happens, it's a rocket ship. It was exhilarating. I really enjoyed the ride.
It really was exhilarating. What exhilarates me, of course, is long trips to blue water. We had a lot of fun with that Hunt 30. I judge a boat by how it fishes, okay? Now, we're not here in the best fishing season for mahi, but I can promise you, just from the way that one's laid out, I would like being in a school of hot fish with that boat. Just everything was so accessible. The live bait's right there. You're automatically sitting where you want to be. The fish boxes are in the right place. I mean, everything about it. The electronics are dialed in. Everything, when it comes from the factory, it's ready to go from there to the edge of the Gulf Stream.
When we come back, hosts Dave East and Rick Riles take a closer look at a boat designed to fish shallow water and run outside the inlet, the Shearwater X22. This segment brought to you by Suzuki Marine, the ultimate 4-stroke outboard. Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Best Boat. Join our hosts Dave East and Rick Riles as they take a closer look at the Shearwater X22. Representing the 17 to 22 foot class in the flats boat category, the Shearwater X22 has an overall length of 21 feet 8 inches, a beam of 8 feet 2 inches, and a max horsepower rating of 250. Designed to navigate shallow flats and retain a smooth ride, she has a draft of 11 inches, a dead rise of 15 degrees, a dry weight of 2,500 pounds, and a fuel capacity of 60 gallons. Now, let's hear more from our hosts, Dave East and Rick Riles.
We're aboard the Shearwater X22, and what the X stands for is crossover. And what this boat does, it fills that crossover from a flats boat up into a bay boat.
Yeah, but it comes at it from a flats boat direction. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
This boat, can you run up and down the beach on a calm tarpon day? Sure you can. But its heart, where it's at home, is back in shallower water.
This boat is really that evolutionary step. If you're looking for the missing link, this is it. This is the boat that would take you from a flats boat into a bay boat, but you haven't made that huge commitment yet, which some bay boats are.
Right, and some bay boats are going to draft a lot more water than this one is. This one, you're still perfectly fine in a foot of water. So you can still chase very flats-oriented fish, and yet you've got a little more freeboard, and you've got a little extra to get you up and down the beach on a calm day.
You've got your little tow rail across here. Keep your fly line, in check on the front deck. But you've got a really big front deck that you normally only see on a bay boat.
You can fish certainly 2 people up here, if not 3, which is a lot for a 22-foot boat. Not only does it have a big casting platform, but they made good use of space. Let me show you how they laid this out. You want to talk about your long rods, okay? These rod lockers on each side not only hold plenty of rods, the tubes go all the way to the bow of the boat. Now that's important if you ever take up fly fishing. Say you want to take your surf rod with you. There's a lot of situations where you need a longer rod. This boat can accommodate them.
Well, that's a flats boat feature. But for a bay boat feature, they've got the double step. We normally only see this on a bay boat. So here again, crossing the two together, a little bit of a bay boat feature, a little bit of a flats boat feature. They've done a really good job about combining the two. Access into your console. This is a really small console. If you want to install aftermarket GPS, VHF radio, whatever, you've got to be a contortionist to get under most small consoles. Not on this boat. Move the cooler out of the way, the entire face of the console comes away to give you great access into your electronics.
Not only if you want to install something, but of course maintaining it. It's a whole lot easier if you can open the whole front of this.
Well, the back of this console is just as impressive. Let me show what I'm talking about. There's one word that comes to mind: comfort. You can actually sit down and drive this boat from the seated position. You don't have to stand all day. You
and your bass boat and sitting down to run a boat, but you can stand. Not only are these seats comfortable, but they slide forward and back. So you can push it back and stand without an issue.
Well, you can, but if you're on a long run, I want to sit down. I want to be comfortable. I want to drive this boat like I'm driving my pickup truck. This boat will allow you to do that.
You're getting old. You know
I'm getting old, but you know what? Comfort, it doesn't matter if you're young or old. Comfort is comfort.
No, and we're seeing so many manufacturers, Shearwater may be leading the way with much more comfortable helm seating than the old leaner rocket launcher that we're so used to.
Another way they've combined flats features with bay boat features, you've got nice big wide gunnels that you normally only see on a flats boat that work your way aft.
They're plenty important for any kind of fast fish that you hook. Now follow me on this. You hook a fast fish that takes off across that way, you need to be able to run these gunnels. You can do it easily here without falling overboard.
Well, they've kept a high freeboard that you normally only see in a bay boat, but they got the wide gunnels you're talking about you see in a flats boat. Here again, this is how they've put the two together. They did the same thing on the rear casting platform. All right, as we step on the rear casting platform, the first thing that I see, really deep channels on their hatches. What that's going to do is it's going to channel the water away, so your boxes are going to stay a lot drier.
Sure, it matters. Anytime you back up hard enough, you're going to get water on here. And being channeled is going to keep your stuff dry. 2 separate live wells. Now that's all this boat needs, but they're both back here in the most comfortable place in the boat.
Well, if you open this rear hatch right in front of the motor, it is ridiculously clean down there. Just look at the rigging and the way they did it. It's beautiful. Everything is where it belongs. Everything's marked. Double hose clamps on all their hoses. This is the way a boat should be rigged, and this is how you should be able to get to it.
You just can't be safe enough. It speaks to their attitude, putting double hose clamps on each connection.
So anyone that's in the market for a flats boat or a bay boat, man, I really can't make up my mind. I like going out of Islamorada and going to backcountry, but also I want to go off the beach and catch tarpon, maybe even go to the lake and catch a bass. They're looking for one boat that can do it all. This boat absolutely fits the bill.
Hold on a minute. You haven't covered everybody. How about the guy that feels the need for speed? This boat will cook. It looks like it's going fast when it's sitting still. you ought to see it running 70 miles an hour.
When we return, hosts Dave East and Rick Riles step aboard a boat built to handle almost any fishing adventure, the Triton 240 LTS Pro. This segment brought to you by Costa Del Mar. See what's out there. We do it all. Custom fiberglass repair, upholstery and canvas work, custom dash panels, specializing in insurance claims, Suzuki and Yamaha sales and service. We do it all. One-stop boat shop, home of fantastic plastics and the fiberglass shop. Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Best Boat. Join our hosts Dave East and Rick Riles as they step aboard the Triton 240 LTS Pro. Representing the 23 to 24 foot class in the bay boat category, the Triton 240 LTS Pro has an overall length of 24 feet, a beam of 8 feet 6 inches, and a max horsepower rating of 350. Built for handling inshore and offshore waters comfortably, she has a draft of 13 inches, a dead rise of 15 degrees, a dry weight of 2,550 pounds, and a fuel capacity of 96 gallons. Now, let's hear more from our hosts, Dave East and Rick Riles.
Okay, we're going to take a look at the Triton 240 LTS Pro, and this boat's a little different from a lot of the bay boats that we've tested because what Triton has done, they've stayed true to their high-performance bass boat heritage, and they've incorporated a lot of those bass boat technology and design features into this bay boat.
And what you're referring to is riding on the pad, and you know what? Didn't take long for me to be convinced it is an advantage.
Well, the biggest advantage of is obviously speed, and there's nothing more exhilarating than getting on a boat, hitting the throttle, and just getting pinned back in the seat. Come on, I can't tell you how many times that you do it, it just never gets old. I mean, we're kids at heart, and I think that plays to that. But the biggest thing is once you're up on that pad, it's less wetted surface. Like a lot of the step hulls we've been testing, less wetted surface, less drag, more fuel efficiency, more speed. It just makes total sense to have a pad under that hull to help get that hull out of the water.
You don't have to be on this boat long to understand that it was designed to fish from. Can you take your family? Sure. It is designed as a fishing boat from bow to stern. And I tell you what, let's take a step back and look at the stuff that makes it so unique. It's an awfully good representative of a 24-foot bay boat.
All right, good idea. Let's start here with this great big bow casting deck because this is something that's unique in a 24-foot bay boat. Well, you've got locking rod boxes on both sides that can hold all the outfits that you would need to carry in a boat this size. Huge box behind you that's insulated. Of course, anchor locker here in front, but just the sheer size of the deck, it separates it from a lot of the other 24s, and so I like this. It's a good feature. We got the little step downs on both sides, so let's get down in the cockpit and let's take a look at the console because that's something else we haven't seen on these 24-foot bay boats yet. Okay, if you look at the design of the center console, it really fits the boat well. You've got a front entry door. Now in this particular boat, they put their batteries under the console. There's plenty of room if you wanted to put a head down there. But what's unique about the batteries under the console is the fact that you can service them and they're right there. It just makes so much more sense to put the batteries where you can get to them. We haven't seen a cockpit yet this large in a 24-foot boat, and the way they were able to accomplish that, we still have gunnels, but they're narrow gunnels. Keeping the gunnel small like that, look how much more room we've got. If you and I want to walk past that console at the same time, no sweat.
Right, come around here behind the console with me and let's check out this rocket launcher. You know who I want to meet? I want to meet the guy that designed everything from here to here. This rail is necessary and very functional, and it really adds to the design of the console, having the pad there to keep stuff from bouncing back.
Well, they've kept the little edge here, the little fiddle if you want to call it that. They went a step further and added that rail, and so they knew how important that was.
You and I both appreciate these string holders that are that simple, but yet won't let any water in your boat.
And the switch panel. I know we've talked about it before, but you know what? Give me a simple switch.
Old guys love
throw
switches.
Back and forth. I don't need a push button thing. I certainly don't need a glass panel. If it's rough, you can actuate it. You just look at the switch, you know if it's on, you know it's off. Sometimes simple, it's just better. They're leaner here. You can either lean against it or you can flop the seat down. We see this on a lot of boats, but really you don't need anything more than this. It's comfortable to stand, it's comfortable to sit.
And it's more than that. I'm a big troller, you know that, and I love even trolling from my bay boats. If I'm here, my rod's right here. I know you love backrest and all that. I love being able to reach your rod, pick it up, hand it to my buddy and say, there, you got a fish on.
We're gonna look at the casting deck. It's a little smaller than we've seen on other boats, but there's a good reason why. Let me show you. We talked a little earlier about the size of the cockpit, the fact that you've got so much square footage. One of the reasons you do is they've made their rear casting deck this small. It's plenty big. They've made provisions for a pedestal seat back here, so you've got enough room if you do want to fish from back here, but they haven't made it so big where it encroaches into your cockpit.
And look, it's plenty big enough for you and I to fish back here, and you're not going to fish more than 2 people on your stern platform. What's the use? This way you've got more room inside if you're offshore.
Well, not only that too, we've got a really big release well right here in the center. I'm standing on top of a live well. You've got access to the bilging systems under your side, and then especially here in the back, this long hatch, you open it up and everything is right there. All your pumps, all your hoses, all your fittings, it's easy to reach.
For a 24-foot bay boat, she's got almost unprecedented room inside the cockpit while still having a big bow platform, being the right size back here, and an excellent console layout. I gotta tell you, it's impressive.
Well, as far as fishing boats go, Triton stayed true to their roots. Yeah, this is a fishing boat, but they didn't go so far toward fishing that they left out the family and some other things. These jump seats in the back are nice. Even got a little molded swim platform with a folding ladder in the back.
There's a lot of things that really speak to me as a fisherman about this Triton 240 LTS Pro. I think they've got it dialed in.
When we come back, hosts Dave East and Rick Riles check out an offshore fishing machine with amenities for the entire family, the Hunt Gamefish 30. This segment brought to you by Tough Coat, the world's #1 rubberized non-skid coating.
Why are more and more boat owners using Tough Coat Marine, the world's #1 rubberized non-skid?
Because it's so attractive and so easy to apply. The rubber granules used only in Tough Coat Marine is extremely comfortable to my bare feet and knees.
From pontoons to houseboats, flats boats to sport fishers, commercial to recreation, even hides nasty spider crabs.
For all boat decks or docks, Tough Coat Marine, the world's #1 rubberized non-skid.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Best Boat. Join our hosts Dave East and Rick Riles as they check out the Hunt Gamefish 30. Representing the 28 to 30 foot class in the center console category, the Hunt Gamefish 30 has an overall length of 29 feet 9 inches, a beam of 9 feet 9 inches, and a max horsepower rating of 600. Built for offshore fishing excursions with the family, she has a draft of 22 inches, a dry weight of 6,000 pounds, and a fuel capacity of 228 gallons. Now, let's hear more from our hosts, Dave East and Rick Riles.
This is the Hunt Gamefish 30. Nice deep entry on the bow, a lot of flare. It's a serious offshore fishing boat.
You know, I remember when we used to define boats this way. You just referred to this one as a serious offshore boat. But it's not, okay? Boats don't do one thing anymore. You used to have an offshore boat, you had a ski boat, and you had a cruiser, okay? But offshore fishing is not just for grizzled old guys like me anymore. How many more families are you seeing 30 miles offshore than you ever used to?
Boats nowadays have to take on a dual role, dual purpose. The family wants to go. You want to enjoy the family on the water because the more you involve your family, the easier it is to get permission to buy a new boat.
That's exactly right. And wives and daughters used to ride along when you went fishing. Those days are gone. Wives and daughters are doing the fishing now, in case you hadn't noticed. All right, the kids are fishing, everybody's fishing. That means you've got to accommodate the whole family, and they started up here with this outstanding bow seating. All right, you want to talk about maximizing your space up here? Look at how many people you can seat up here. You've got armrests there, full loungers here. It speaks to having the whole family with you.
It's comfortable, you got the wind in your face. Super durable cushions are going to hold up to the marine environment, but let's just say it is the boys, and you're not taking the family, and you're going to go fish a tournament with this boat would be absolutely at home to do. All this is removable, and now you've got your casting deck that you want, even with a convenient little step up to get to the bow.
That step is ideal. Old guys like me have a hard time standing up on these platforms and getting up on them. That makes it so much easier. It's a little simple thing that you wouldn't even notice you did during the day, but you sure would notice how it made you feel better.
Well, if you're going to run down a big fish and gaff him off the bow, it's nice to have insulated boxes up here in which you can just dump him in, shut the lid, and you're done. You're ready to catch your next fish. There's also a filler piece that goes in here. Once you drop it in place, you put another cushion. Now you've got a huge bow pad for sunning, or remove all the cushions, and you've got your really, really big casting platform.
Got a place you can run back and forth in a hurry if you're trying to gaff a fish and you've got to get around the bow. No, it's well thought out. Once again, they've maximized their space up here. Now, did you notice anything when we walked back here? Look how much room you had. This is a wide console. You can put everything you wanted to go away for the weekend or go on vacation inside this console, but you still got lots of room. That's because of something you taught me about called D-tubing.
Well, what the D-tubing does, it allows the legs of the console to be tucked in really, really tight. That way they're not out here in the aisle, and you can do exactly what you said. You can build the console wider, you can tuck the legs in, they almost become integrated into the console, and they're not taking up any floor space. You can walk right past them.
Here again, it's one of the things that makes a boat feel more comfortable.
Well, let's look at the face of this console. You have flush mounted electronics, they've got cup holders. The layout really is everything you need, and it's nothing over the top. You got a comfortable footrest here, and you've got the helm seating that we've seen before that's convertible. It's a bolster or it's a comfortable seat.
You ready for what really sets this boat apart? Mezzanine seating. As a fisherman, let me tell you, I'm always yelling at people they need to be watching the baits. What's a better place to watch the baits than right here?
What they've also done is they've taken the area underneath it and they've made a divided live well under there. So you've got your stern live well over here, but you've got another one under here and it's divided. That way if you want to separate your baits, you can. Well, if you're not going to do a lot of live bait fishing and one live well is good, this is also insulated. So this also becomes a cooler. So now you can keep drinks or food stuff back here. You still have another live well, so if you want to have just a few baits, you've got the room for them.
One more thing about Sea Hunt, every one of these boxes is insulated. So it can double as a cooler if you're not using it as either a fish box or a live well.
We talked earlier about the dual mission of the boat. Another thing this mezzanine seating is good for is diving.
On most boats, the hardest part of a dive is getting dressed. You understand that. This makes it a whole lot easier.
You've got a nice big cockpit back here. You've got easy access into your systems to maintain your pumps. There's another fish box that's insulated here on the transom. We talked earlier about the live wells. You've got plenty of room back here for several fishermen. Or if the family wants to come back here and enjoy conversation, you have a comfortable place to sit because they can get another seat here facing this way.
So you've got group seating in the bow and in the cockpit. You've got fish boxes in the bow and in the cockpit. They maximize their space so well. It's clear that the mission of this boat is to be able to fish hard with the family. You can carry a big family on this one. She'll fish more people than most 30-footers.
If you want more information on the 3 boats that you've seen today, or any of the other boats that we've tested this season in Best Boat, go to our website, floridasportsman.com.
Or we'll see you next week on another episode of Florida Sportsman Best Boat.
When filming for Florida Sportsman Best Boat, the cast and crew docked and dined at Fort Pierce City Marina in Fort Pierce, Florida, featuring a full-service, state-of-the-art dock system within walking distance from excellent restaurants and historic downtown Fort Pierce. Each month, turn to Florida Sportsman for the best in boating and fishing coverage.